In this video, I'm going to show you how to do cluster analysis using the template that we reviewed in class. For this exercise, I downloaded one of the data sets that one of the student groups had put together with their survey, and it relates to energy drinks. So here's the data set in Excel format. I'm going to start by cleaning it up a little bit so it's not so unattractive and doesn't have useless information. I'm going to start by highlighting the first 18 columns, which are basically not relevant to the survey, and I'm going to delete them. So the survey data really start in this column A, which is A now. All right. And just so I can see what the questions are, I'm going to expand the row height for the second row, which has the question label. I'm also going to change the width of the column a little bit and set it to wrap text. So now I can see the question text, and that helps me understand what the data refer to. So now I'm going to start by showing you how to do a cluster analysis based on attribute importance data. Okay, so the attribute importance data start over here in column O. It says, when you're buying an energy drink, how would you rate the importance of each of these attributes when making a decision? And the first attribute is taste. So there are 5 attributes being rated here, and they occupy the data in these 5 columns. This is taste, there's affordability, there's energy boost, flavor variety, and packaging. So I'm going to go to the Excel template now, the cluster analysis template, and I've already typed in the names of these 5 attributes, and I'm going to now paste the data. But before I do that, I've got to take this data out. I don't have to, but it's just easier to work with if the data are in a separate tab. So I'm going to create a new tab. I've copied those cells for those 5 attributes. I'm going to call this a tab cluster analysis data. And I'm going to paste those attributes over here. So now those 5 attributes are here, the importance of those 5 attributes, and I make this a little bit prettier. Okay. Now what I need to do is make sure all the blank rows of data are at the bottom, so I don't have to copy and paste them. So the first thing I'm going to do before I start anything is to delete the first row of data, because it just has question numbers which are not useful to us at this point. And then once I've got that, I'm going to select the whole data set and I'm going to sort it so that all the blank rows are on the bottom. And so you can sort it by any of these columns. I'm going to sort it based on column A. So now you notice if you scroll down, all the blank rows have moved to the bottom, and there are in fact 82 rows of data. So I'm going to copy and paste those 82 rows into my Excel cluster analysis template. And here we go. Here are the data for these 5 attributes, and this is importance of the 5 attributes. So now I'm going to run the cluster analysis by clicking on this orange box on the left. And when I do that, it starts, if you look at the bottom, it shows you something that's changing, and that's basically is running through a set of calculations. One thing I want to mention is that you might get a warning saying macros are disabled and we cannot run this analysis. If that happens, there's a button on top that says enable content. Just click on that, and that should solve the problem. Also, make sure that you have Solver add-in installed, and that's something that's free in Excel. If you click on the tab that says Add Solver at the bottom here, it'll tell you how to do that. So let's wait until it's done. And presto, it's done. When it's finished, it'll automatically go to the Output Clusters tab, and you can see the output for 1 cluster, 2 clusters, all the way to 5 clusters. Now, before you do anything here, go to the tab called SSE Charts over here, and there it'll show you the sum of squared errors for different cluster solutions. So remember the elbow rule. The elbow rule means that you need to pick the the cluster solution where there's an elbow in the data, and there's the most prominent elbow is over here at 2 clusters, and so we're going to pick that, and so we look at the 2 cluster solution for this data. Now notice that when you look over here, the 2 cluster solution, it shows you the mean ratings for each of these attributes for segment 1 and then for segment 2. Okay, and it also shows you the number of people, number of respondents in segment 1 and 2. And you can see that in segment 2 there's very few respondents. There's 15 and there's 67 in the other one. That's okay, but try and get a segment solution. If you have an option, try and find a segment solution, a cluster solution, where there's a large number of people in each segment. Okay, if you can't, that's okay, don't worry about it. But the main thing here is, now that you have the 2 segments, you need to interpret what these segments want, or what they consider important. So you got to interpret the numbers, the average ratings for each of these. And you can see that on average, packaging has a lowest rating for both segments, followed by flavor variety as the lowest importance rating. The most important, of course, is energy boost and taste. And segment 1 seems to consider all of these attributes more important than segment 2, where segment 2 has lower importance ratings on all of them. So you can think about a name to give these 2 segments, and that's really up to you. Just figure out a name that you think best describes these 2 segments. For example, the segment 2 might be the people who don't care as much, and segment 1 may be people who are highly involved with the purchase, with the product category. So for them, everything is important. Whatever, it's not important what you call them. Just pick something that seems reasonable to you. All right, and that is it for the cluster analysis. If you go to the tab called segmentation maps, you can see the maps for the 2 segment solution. And here's a few things you can do. First, in this box over here, which says my map, just override that by saying energy drinks map, and then name your segments 1 and 2, call them whatever you want. I'm not going to bother here, but basically give them names over here so you remember what they are. And then you have to decide which 2 attributes you want to graph, you want to put on the map. So in this map, it shows the x-axis has the attribute affordable, and the y-axis has the attribute energy boost. That corresponds to variable number 2 and 3 in this chart here. So you can see here's a list of 5 variables or attributes, and number 2 is affordability, number 3 is energy boost. So that's what you get, you see on the map. You can change this to 1 and 3, and you'll notice things will change a little bit. You can change it again to 1 and 2, and again things will change a little bit. Whatever are the most important attributes are the ones that you should put in this map. So I would think taste, affordability, and energy boost would be the attributes you want to choose from. So for example, if you do 2 and 3, which is what we had before, then you get this map. So once you've picked the maps, pick the attributes that are most relevant for you and that best differentiate the segments. So if the segments move close together when you pick 2 attributes, find 2 different attributes so they move further apart. And that's it. That's your segmentation map for the clusters. All right. And that's all you need to do. So now you just have to copy and the map, click on the map and copy it, Control C, and paste it as a picture in your presentation.